Good morning, Mario.
Okie dokie.
Good morning, Mario, and good morning, Switch fans. I've got some comforting echinacea licorice tea because we're talking the comfort foods of The Legend of Zelda. New leaks and rumors and all this potential for the 35th anniversary. Are they getting ready to unveil a Wind Waker Trilogy? We have to dive deep. Plus, the Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury reviews are in, and except for one website, everybody loves it. What's going on, everybody? It's Zach from SwitchForce. Hope you're all having a wonderful, magical hump day. It's Wednesday. We're moving towards a fantastic finish with the new Super Mario 3D World. Now, we'll dive into those excellent reviews a little bit later, but let's start with The Legend of Zelda, a hot topic on the mind of every Switch fan, because the anniversary is February 21st. That's like less than 2 weeks away. So we are bound to get information sooner rather than later, and little sleuths have found some trademarks that have popped up. One for Phantom Hourglass and one for the Wind Waker. Smash that like button if you're excited for Zelda's anniversary and all the games Nintendo will bring to the Switch, and let me know in the comments down below how you think this is gonna go. What are your predictions for what Nintendo puts out for the 35th anniversary? Now, one way this could go is indicated by these trademarks, and sometimes trademarks are just Nintendo reclaiming their properties and saying, hey, we own this. But it's a bit odd that Phantom Hourglass and Wind Waker both got new trademarks in Australia around the same time, and they're linked because some people do consider the series of games, starting with Wind Waker, moving to Phantom Hourglass, and ending with Spirit Tracks, as its own trilogy. Now, Spirit Tracks takes place way beyond the other two, but they're all still within the same realm. Phantom Hourglass was originally released on the Nintendo DS, so bringing this game to Switch would be super interesting. How do you take a game that's on two screens with a lot of touch elements and move it to Nintendo Switch? We all thought that the games that would get focused on here were Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Twilight Princess, Wind Waker, Skyward Sword, and obviously Breath of the Wild 2, but I don't think many people really thought much of the DS games. Now, you could bring them over because the Switch does have a touchscreen, albeit one screen, and then you wouldn't be able to play in TV mode, which seems like a kind of strange way to hype up your anniversary. Hey, we're bringing back this OG and frankly awesome Zelda game. Phantom Hourglass is very creative, very cool. It's got a lot of charm and humor. Lineback is great. I like the puzzles, but it's kind of a weird gimped version and you can't play on your TV. So I think if this is to happen, more likely Nintendo would be remastering the game and bringing it to Switch in kind of a new fashion, finding ways to incorporate all the OG ideas, but in a way that is better suited to Switch. So maybe they would modify the controls, maybe they would change up some of the structure, and they would bring it so that it involved gyro, perhaps a little bit of touch, but not too much, because you don't want that to be the only way to play, considering when it's on the TV, you don't have any options. I think it would have to be a bigger undertaking than, say, what they did with Link's Awakening, because it would be more than just a graphical overhaul. It would be a complete game overhaul. And then Wind Waker, that game's already been done in HD, so it'd be a pretty simple copy and paste. Maybe they'd add a few things here or there, make a few slight tweaks, but it would be easy to get that game onto Switch. And I think we all kind of expect that Wind Waker will be on Switch in some form, given that it's a Wii U title from a GameCube title, and so many Wii U titles have found their way to Switch, including Mario 3D World, that it just makes too much sense. But if they were going to do Phantom Hourglass and Wind Waker, maybe they would also do Spirit Tracks. Again, a game that would need some significant modification, but that does have a very quirky take on The Legend of Zelda normal world and normal gameplay structure. As I mentioned, there's a lot of trains. Instead of boats in Phantom Hourglass, you're riding trains all around. This would be a very unexpected turn of events for Zelda's 35th anniversary if it does happen, because I think we're all expecting those major typical Zelda games to make the transition, but I wouldn't complain. I'd like to see Nintendo do something creative and crafty, and I think Phantom Hourglass is actually a very fun game, and it's accessible, so seeing it redone would be awesome. In fact, I'd love to see any of the Zelda games brought to new life. Like, ports are great, but when we think about Mario 3D All-Stars, those are just straight ports with the smallest adjustments and improvements. If Nintendo is willing and able to make a wholesale change, get it? Sales? Wind Waker? Okay, if they're able to make a big change to a game and really modernize it, or at least make it more beautiful, that's my preference. I would pick that. But I am suspicious of these trademarks, and I do wonder if they're just that, trademarks, because it doesn't seem very much like Nintendo to pick an odd trilogy of titles for their big anniversary. We know that the game that everyone wants is Breath of the Wild 2, and more it seems like that one is hitting this year. I've seen some credible sources say they fully expect Breath of the Wild 2 to hit in the second half of 2021 with the Switch Pro, which would be really exciting. We did see an Australian retailer list Breath of the Wild 2 for a Q2 release date as kind of a counterpoint. That means the game would come out in either April, May, or June, and I just don't see that happening. Yes, Nintendo has been quick with their reveal and then release. Their hype cycles have been truncated, but that's too short for what would be one of the biggest games of the generation. Like the sequel to Breath of the Wild, it's going to be a massive event. The reveal was a big deal. The first gameplay will be a big deal. The ideas, the concept, the story, the possible co-op action, it's all going to be mega. And I don't think you just poop that out in the middle of the spring. So then when will we find out? February 21st is a Sunday. That's the official Zelda anniversary. No chance Nintendo puts out a presentation over the weekend. Now with Mario, they went a little bit before the anniversary and released their special direct. So could Nintendo go just before February 21st? They could, but I think they're gonna wait till at least March for two main reasons. One, Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury is getting all the attention, and that's out this Friday. So next week they could immediately jump to something new, but it seems a bit soon, especially with Bravely Default 2 right around the corner. And they've got a big push from third parties with Crash Bandicoot 4 and Monster Hunter Rise in March. Maybe that's a good time, though, to start laying the groundwork for Nintendo's future plans. You also have to remember that the Pokemon anniversary is at the end of February, and it feels like Nintendo will be more inclined to start that train. Get it? Train? I'm just really big on the Zelda puns today. They will be more likely to go forward with those plans before the Zelda plans. And it's no slight to Zelda, I just think the fact that the Mario anniversary runs until the end of March, they've got Pokemon kind of smushed in between, I don't know, I feel like they'll give a little breathing room and then can go full bore on Zelda. Because, you know, there's boars in Zelda. Breath of the Wild 2 should be the centerpiece, and I cannot wait to see what they do with their classic library. And let me know in the comments down below if you would be excited for Nintendo to bring a quirky series of games like Phantom Hourglass, Wind Waker, and Spirit Tracks to the Switch, or would you be pissed off that they didn't bring the more typical Zelda titles that we've all kind of figured they're gonna do? I don't know. I mean, I'd love to see Nintendo do everything, but inevitably they can't do it all. So what is your priority? I think it's Breath of the Wild 2, and then which classic games? I mean, I've made my pitch for the Oracle titles. I'd love to see those redone. This is going to be really interesting, and I cannot wait to find out what they've got planned. Please don't make fun of my tiny mug. When I ordered this mug, it's from Paris. I thought it was big, but it's so small. Like, I have tiny hands, and this mug fits like it's an ornament. You could throw this thing on your Christmas tree, man. It's so tiny. It holds like a third of a cup of tea, maybe a half a cup, but I kind of like it. I don't know. I feel kind of like King Bowser here. I'm ready to, well, I won't get that furious, but I'm ready to rule over my kingdom with my tiny, classy little cup of tea. I mean, one finger in the loop, a small smidge of honey, and some sips of this golden nectar. But yeah, the mug is crazy small. I don't know what happened. But before anything Zelda happens, Mario is making his valiant return. I'm gonna be playing the game tomorrow morning, so make sure to stay tuned. But the game releases on Friday, and the review scores are resoundingly positive. It's sitting at a 90 Metacritic, which that actually feels a bit low for Mario, but everything is positive for the most part. People are saying that Bowser's Fury is a great inclusion, and it's a beautiful bridge of the 2D/3D hybrid style in Mario 3D World, and then the true 3D Odyssey style in Bowser's Fury. A short campaign, but one that's packed with creativity. The online multiplayer works well, and the game obviously holds up as an insanely creative and packed full of content Mario package. Now, there are a few reviews that are a bit more negative, and one in particular stands out to me. Everybody's allowed their own opinion, and if you don't like Mario 3D World, that's okay. You might be crazy, but that's okay. IGN came in and gave the game a 7 out of 10, which feels stinkingly low for a Nintendo first party. Now, hey, let's call a dud if Nintendo delivers one, but their complaints are a bit strange. They say they don't like that Mario 3D World feels less flexible and less open than either Galaxy or Odyssey, which is a fair complaint, but that was the intention for 3D World. It was supposed to be a more linear and hybrid experience. They say they don't like that sometimes it's hard to tell depth and the perspective is locked in place, but that's what they intended to do. It just feels like this person isn't a fan of that style of Mario, and that's totally okay, because they also don't like the co-op, which I think is one of the most thrilling parts of this game. You get to play it online with your friends, a big Mario experience, 100 levels, and you can do it with up to 4 players. But they don't like that the characters have kind of a hierarchy. They say like, Toad stinks and who would want to be this person? But I think that's part of the appeal, is like, are you a Peach guy or are you a Luigi girl? You got to figure out who you like, who you want to rock, and who you're going to roll with as part of your squad. But they feel it's too chaotic, and they don't like a shared pool of lives. They'd rather infinite lives so you can keep bumbling through the stages. I don't know. Hey, everyone is entitled to their own opinion, but it was a bit odd to see a low score when the game is otherwise universally praised, although I do have to praise IGN for being willing to stick to their guns. If the reviewer didn't like that, I respect it. Like, hey, you gotta be honest, and I'd rather have an honest low score or an honest high score, something that deviates from the norm, than just trying to follow the main line of what everyone else is saying. So even though I disagree, thumbs up for speaking your truth, IGN. Now, some of you are probably wondering where I got this sweet jacket. It's quite possibly my favorite piece of Nintendo official merch. It's really cozy, it's really soft, I got long arms and the sleeves are perfect length. On the back it says Nintendo New York. It's just an awesome piece. So unfortunately, it probably isn't for sale anymore. In fact, it's hard to get Nintendo official merch because they sell it at their Nintendo New York store, now their Nintendo Tokyo store, also Super Nintendo World, but other than that, it's hard to find some of the more cool, stylish pieces. But I do want to let you know that there is the option of online. Previously, they didn't sell any of their apparel online, but they've started to add more and more to their official Nintendo website. And the US website and the UK website have different stuffs. Like the UK got this super sick set of Mario 35th t-shirts and hoodies. I actually just got some, so you'll be seeing them in the videos. And then the US store has a bunch of really cool Animal Crossing stuff like this Dodo jacket and other simplistic Mario 35th anniversary gear. So definitely check those out. I'll put a link in the description because I know a lot of you are always looking for cool Nintendo clothes. And they're harder to find than they should be, aren't they? Like, this stuff should be everywhere. And if you don't live in New York, you do still have some options. Either way, the game seems to be a star-studded release. I cannot wait to play it with all of you, and I cannot wait to see what Nintendo decides to do with Zelda. I'll keep my eyes on those trademarks. Are they gonna be weird and wild? They were so normal for Mario 3D All-Stars. Going crazy for Zelda would be surprising, but kind of refreshing. So I'm curious to hear your take in the comments down below. Smash that like button if you enjoyed today's episode. Make sure to subscribe if you want to get all the latest and greatest Nintendo news, rumors, leaks, and impressions from yours truly every morning with Good Morning Mario. I love you guys a lot. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay smart out there. I appreciate you believing in me and standing with my positivity and passion for this awesome platform, and I cannot wait to see you next time. So until that time, everybody, SwitchForce out.